And it's Arcanine, Arcanine PC. We're by far the greatest team that the world has ever seen. It has been a hot minute since I have said that. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You can call me Kai Guy. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. And if this is your first time here, then a big ol' welcome to you. I am your coach of the Arcanine Pokemon Club. That is Arcanine PC for short, and we are here for our draft breakdown of Season 5 of the NBA. If you guys missed Season 4, we were a part of the Truant Division then, and your boy actually came out on top and won the whole division. Fiora remembers, she's clearly meowing in the background like a lunatic right now. We won the whole thing, and we've been moved to the Swarm Division this year. So that is where we are going to be playing this season. Got a couple of familiar faces, of course, here joining us. We got Mr. Lethal Blue and Mr. Stormtide. Looking forward to playing both of them this season once again. Yeah, we're moving on up in the world, so we're trying to defend that crown, trying to keep the streak alive, and I have drafted a brand new team of Pokemon in order to help us do that. Before we go ahead and break down everything, if you enjoy this Draft League content, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe, because we are on our way to 900 subs. It is my goal for the year, and I'd really appreciate if you could help me hit it, and it also lets me know that you all really enjoy this Draft League content. So, without further adu, there were a couple of mons I had on my radar. There was, I guess I probably should break down what Draft League is. A Pokemon Draft League, you draft a team of Pokemon, usually between 9 to 11, and every week you battle a different team of Pokemon, but you only bring 6, so you're trying to like counter team your opponent, and you have a certain amount of points to do so, blah, blah, blah. You have a certain amount of Tera captains. It'll make sense. Anyway, so I drafted a total of 10 Pokemon for my team. And there were a couple Pokemon I had on my radar. First off, the first thing that came to my mind was last season, our MVP was Sneasler. Sneasler put in so much work for us. It literally won me the championship last year. I was very tempted to grab it, because I had the 4th pick overall. 4th pick, so I was choosing my Pokemon 4th. I believe Tapu Koko went first. I don't remember what went second. No Fiora. I don't remember what went second, but next up was actually Stormtide, who had the 3rd overall pick, and I was thinking to myself, maybe I just go Sneasler again for the memes. Like, this thing was an absolute unit last year. It put in the work. Stormtide sniped my Sneasler, and I was very, very sad. I was the saddest boy in all of the land. So unfortunately, no Lucina on the run back this season, but we persevere nonetheless, and we went ahead and drafted at 4th overall a very classic Pokemon, one that has been good ever since it has come out many, many generations ago. It has never been a bad Pokemon. It's always been near the upper echelon of tiers, whether that be OU, UU. Sometimes I think it even got banned once. I could be wrong about that. But I went ahead and I actually grabbed your boy. You know him, you love him. It's a basic pick, but I don't give a damn, Garchomp. I went ahead and grabbed Garchomp here first overall. It's cost me 19 points, which is the second most amount of points a Pokemon can be, with first place being 20. I really wanted a dragon. I love me some dragons in draft. Remember last season my Kyurem put in the finest of work, and I really have wanted to use Garchomp for a while in draft and never had the opportunity to do so. This Pokemon has a lot of upside going for it. Like, look at these stats. Base 108 HP is phenomenal and gives it some pretty solid bulk with the the 85 SPDF and 95 defense. Base 130 attack is huge, and 102 speed, being able to outspeed base 100 is really nice. So it gets me in a pretty decent speed tier off the bat as well. This Pokemon's also extremely versatile. It can be run offensive with like Earthquake, sub SD Scale Shot Earthquake. I could run mixed with like Fire Blast on there if I wanted to. It also, I believe, gets access to, I want to see, does it get access to hazards? I'm pretty sure it does. Yes, it already had Stealth Rocks for a while, but it's got access to Spikes now, which is awesome. Gets Stone Edge for flying types, can Sword Stance to boost its physical attack, Poison Jab and Iron Head for fairies. It's a really good mon. There's a reason why this thing is has been widely regarded as such a good Pokemon. Plus, you can also run it defensive with like hazards plus Dragon Tail to kind of phase the opponent around and everything, thanks to its hidden ability in Rough Skin, which makes the opponent take a 1/8 of their max HP every turn, coupled with a nice little Rocky Helmet, adding in an extra 1/6 of their HP. That's going to add up very quickly. So those physical attackers, they got to be running protective pads or have long reach if you're Decidueye. to make sure they're avoiding that, because this thing can be tanky if it wants to with hazards plus Dragon Tail plus fourth move. Otherwise, I can run it all out offensive as well. So again, very versatile mon. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's Garchomp. What else can be said? Like, this Pokemon's insane. It's been that way since Gen 4. Like, this Pokemon, there's a reason why people tell their horror stories about Cynthia's Garchomp, because this Pokemon's insane. So, for our theme this season, for our team, I went ahead and decided, I was going to do Xenoblade again, but I want to kind of switch it up. So, I actually went ahead and I was like, I'm going to do Kingdom Hearts enemies. Not characters, but, like, specific enemies. Because I thought there were some really good ones that fit with our team. So, as a result, we are going to go ahead and name our Garchomp, if I could spell it, Behemoth. And if I remember, I'll try to put a picture of the Heartless on screen, or enemy that it represents on screen, so you guys can kind of see the resemblance. But Garchomp was my first overall pick. After that, I had a while to wait because there are, I believe, 16 total coaches in the division. So it had to go all the way through from 5 to 16 and then come from 16 all the way back to 4. So I believe, if my math is correct, that would be, what, 11 plus... So around 20-something, 23 picks, 24 picks in between my next one. So a lot of mons got taken. And there was a mon I had in mind for when I got Sneasler, and I'm sorry to do, like, I know I'm talking about Stormtide again. Apparently, I kind of sniped him on this one, but he got my Sneasler, so I guess it evens out. There was a mon I was looking to pair with Sneasler, and I still really wanted to use it. It's one I've used a long time ago in draft, so if you're a long-time viewer, you might remember it. But I haven't used it since it came out in its debut generation of Gen 7, and I felt like it gave Garchomp a lot of extra help and utility, while also giving me a solid breaker on the special side. So I went ahead, and for my second overall pick, I chose Tapu Lele. Break down these stats real quick. Doesn't actually have that bad of SPDEF, so it could be run a little bit specially defensive if I wanted to. It'd say, like, dual screens with, like, Reflect, Light Screen, and Nature's Madness, and then maybe fourth move. I believe it was Carnveer last season in the quarterfinals of the NBA ran this moveset against me, and I had the good counter for it because I had my default scissor, but it was a difficult one to play around, I'm not gonna lie. So I had to, like, kind of make sure I kept up momentum on my side, and point is, it could be defensive if I wanted it to be. It also does get a lot of really good moves, like it can Aromatherapy to get rid of status issues, Calm Mind to boost its stats, Dazzling Gleam. I mean, I'm going to be running Moonblast, so why would I run Dazzling Gleam over Moonblast? Draining Kiss if I want to go bulky and restore my HP. Energy Ball for coverage is pretty nice. Focus Blast for steals is awesome. I can Future Sight if I want to run, like, Assault Vest on this thing. That could be pretty good. It actually gets Iron Defense, which is pretty crazy. Iron Defense, Calm Mind. If this thing got Stored Power, that'd be insane. It actually gets Stored Power. Wait, we're running that this season. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if it's bad. We're running that this season. I don't give a damn. Moonblast will probably be our main fairy attack of choice this season. I'm not going to be running Physical Lele. Psychic combined with Psychic Surge is really, really nice because I believe it boosts it by 1.3 times, I want to say. Because on our Psychic Surge, we'll set the Psychic Terrain, which is also handy for Garchomp because Garchomp can't be Ice Sharded because of priority, can't be Prankstered because of priority, no Mach Punches, no Vacuum Waves, anything like that. Lele wouldn't be able to be Bullet Punched, so we've got a good little bit of synergy going on right there thanks to the Psychic Surge, also boosting my Psychic attacks. We've also do have access to Size Shock and Shadow Ball. Store Power could be fun to run with Iron Defense, Calm Mind. A little bit of Taunt action, like, hey, come and hit me, why don't ya? That could be pretty fun. It also does get access to T-Bolt and Toxic, so a lot of diverse moves, a lot of really fun moves. The only issue with this thing is that I could see there being, like, a little bit of a 4 move slot syndrome, but this thing can be run as a Choice Scarfer, because Tapu Lele is a very good Choice Scarfer, because its speed is a little bit lacking at 95, but the rest of these stats are pretty nice. 70 HP is okay, but 130 special attack and 115 special defense are super good. And coupled with Choice Scarf, Lele will be able to outspeed things that it could normally not, and then take advantage of that Psychic Surge boosted Psychic attacks. Excuse me, or the myriad of good coverage that it actually ends up getting. Yeah, Lele is just a solid mon all around. I really like the synergy between it and Garchomp, giving it the immunity to priority as long as the terrain is up. Because I could also run a little terrain extender to make sure our terrain lasts for an extra couple of turns. So Lele's got a lot of utility, and as well as being able to be a very solid breaker. I love this Pokemon. I remember using it before, and I thought it was awesome. And the time I used it before, I wasn't allowed to have Psychic Surge on it. So using this thing with Psychic Surge, I think is going to be a lot of fun. I've been really excited to use this thing, so hopefully y'all are hyped. But that was our second overall pick, and we are going to name you the Pink Concerto. And like I said, I'll try and put a picture on screen. Alright, you might notice we have a Dragon type. We have a Fairy type. One of those things you want to get if you're in Draft League, usually, they're kind of getting phased out a little bit along with Fire, Water, Grass cores, but Fairy, Dragon, Steel cores are still somewhat relevant. Steel types are really good because they resist Fairy type moves and Dragon type moves, and those are two very spammable types. Steel types are just really good in general because they resist so much stuff that it's always important to get a Steel type on your team. So I decided there was a Pokemon I've been wanting to use for a long, long time. I've never used this thing in my life. Never, ever, ever, ever. And I actually went ahead and picked up my Mega this round. There's a Mega Steel type I decided to go ahead and grab. And that Pokemon is Mega Aggron. This big freaking unit of a Pokemon. Filter makes it so that we take less damage from super effective moves after we Mega Evolve. And instead of it being a Rock Steel type, it just becomes a pure Steel type now, which is so much better. It's not even funny because now we're not 4 times weak to fighting. That's phenomenal. We're not 4 times weak to ground, which is also insanely good. Plus with the filter reducing that super effective damage, that's super, super nice. So I believe we will only be weak to fighting, ground, and fire, unless I'm forgetting something. Which again are very common types, but we have Pokemon that can play around that. For example, Garchomp resists fire. Tapu Lele resists fighting 4 times. So we got a little bit of a ways around that stuff as well. But this Pokemon is an absolute unit. Look at this defense stat. If I went max, let's see. If I went max, this thing hits 614 defense. That's actually ridiculous. And like this Pokemon's not passive either. Like look, it has base 140 attack. That's higher than Garchomp. Like that's kind of ridiculous that this thing has a higher attack stat than Garchomp. Yes, its speed's pretty bad, base 50. But the other stats kind of make up for that. 70 HP and 230 defense. This thing's a physically defensive monster, and it's not too passive because of that physical attack stat. And the base 80 SPDF is not bad, especially with Filter, being able to eat up like those specially offensive like fire hits or ground hits. So that's pretty good as well. More often than not, we'll probably run this thing defensive, but I could surprise somebody and run like Curse Mega Aggron one week. Boost my defense and my attack, like run max SPDF, max HP Aggron with Curse. And then Heavy Slam hits like an absolute truck because this thing is in the heaviest weight bracket. Does also get access to Autotomize to make me double my speed stuff. I want to run an all-out offensive Aggron one week with like Body Press plus Heavy Slam. Which reminds me, this thing gets Body Press with 614 defense. Yes, we like that. We will be clicking that quite often, I would assume. Other good moves this thing gets access to Counter as well to be annoying. Gets access to Crunch, who cares? For the most part, not too many insane moves. Dragon Tail is nice for phasing. Earthquake is pretty nice for some ground moves. Does get access to fire moves as well. Head Smash could be a good rock type attack to go for. Can get Hone Claws to boost. Iron Defense as well, so Iron Defense Body Press is real. Power Up Punch Aggron, I don't think I'll ever run. Another phasing move in Roar could be fun. Gets another move that boosted speed, in this case Rock Polish. Seismic Toss could be good as well. It also gives me another Stealth Rocker, which is really good to take a little bit of the heat off of Garchomp. Yeah, it gets access to Taunt as well as Toxic too, and Thunder Wave. So it's got, again, a wide variety of moves that I can pull from. I can run this thing multiple different ways. Physically offensive, physically defensive, specially defensive, setup sweeper with Curse, setup sweeper with max attack with Rock Polish. There's a lot that this mon can do. I can run it as a phaser. There's so much this Pokemon can do, especially with thanks to getting the hazard as well, which is, like I said, taking heat off Garchomp is really nice. Yeah, this Pokemon's awesome. I've been wanting to use this thing for a while. I've heard it is honestly so fun and so good, so I had to throw my hat in the ring and give it a nice solid attempt. And for our name for this one, we're going to go with Large Body, because if you've ever seen a bigger body than Mega Aggron, I can promise you, you have not. 3 down, 7 to go. Next up. So I wanted a nice pivot for my team, because all 3 of these Pokemon don't really have access to pivoting moves. They don't get Baton Pass, they don't get U-Turn. Actually, do you get Baton Pass? No. They don't get Baton Pass, they don't get U-Turn, they don't get Flip Turn, Volt Switch, anything like that. So I decided I wanted to grab a pivot Pokemon that could help these Pokemon keep up momentum and also provide them with some form of utility as well. And the utility I was thinking was in the form of Wish Passing, because these Pokemon don't have the best base HP. 70, 70, 108 is pretty good. But there is a Pokemon that can Wish Pass to the rest of the team, can be annoyingly tanky for the opponent to break, and also heal itself every single time it switches out thanks to the momentum that it gets. So I went ahead and I decided to grab Alomomola. If you were here for the BHA draft, which unfortunately I had to drop out of, I had this on my team, and it was very annoying for opponents to deal with. It led me to a 6-2 record, I believe, that season. It was 6-2 or 7-1, I can't remember. Points still stands. I was #1 seed at that point, but I had to drop out of the league. Anyway, so yeah, this thing gets access to Regenerator, which is awesome. Restores a third of its maximum HP rounded down when it switches out. So anytime this Pokemon switches out, it will heal itself for 1/3 of its HP. And it has a monstrous base 165 HP stat, which you can use to Wish Pass to the rest of the team. Pass along that HP to my other Mons. Its attack stats don't really matter, not gonna lie, but like Flip Turn is pretty good to help take advantage of its 75 attack, because its special attack is a lot lower than its physical for some reason. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but it's not. Flip Turn to keep up momentum is nice, otherwise I could also go Baton Pass. More often than not, we'll go Flip Turn just to get that little bit of chippy chip though. And if we run minus speed on this thing, so if we ran like min speed, like this, we'll just do, we'll say, I think it's relaxed nature is what I want. Yes. So if I ran like a relaxed nature on this thing, I could guarantee to get off my slow flip turns, get my regen, and then pass off a nice little powerful wish to one of these guys. This Pokemon only does like 1 or 2 things, but it does those things very well. It could be a Calm Minder. I'm not going to be doing that though. Gets access to Healing Wish to guarantee something coming in. Knockoff is pretty nice just to remove items, make sure we can get those off of the opponent. Gets up Magic Coat as well to maybe bounce back a Toxic or bounce back some hazards. I doubt I'll click that this season, but it's an option. And it also gets access to Toxic, spread a little purple around, make sure the opponent is on a timer. This might just be the set we run every single game with Heavy Duty Boots, just to make sure we're not taking like Stealth Rock or Spikes damage. But this could end up being the same set we run every single game. It's just pretty good. Or if I wanted to swap out Toxic for Protect, I could do that. More than likely, you're going to be running this thing with a max HP and a good amount of defense, maybe a tiny bit of Spadef. You could also run this thing Assault Vest if you wanted to, with like Flip Turn, Knockoff, and then like 2 other attacks of your choice. So I could run it physically defensive, I could run it specially defensive. That monstrous HP stat is just so nice. Like, max it. Like if we max it out at 252, oh, there we go. 534 is really, really good. That's honestly so fire. Yeah, this thing is here to eat up hits, pass off some healing to the rest of the team, and heal itself while it does it. Plus, I really like it gives me knockoff to remove items. And I went ahead and decided to name this one Aqua Tank, which is I believe a Kingdom Hearts 1 Heartless, because it's a fish, Aqua, and it takes hits. It's a tank. I just was like, that's literally perfect. I can't do any better than that. All right. Round 5. So here is where I kind of regret the order in which I did things. So looking at the team, there was a Tera Captain I really wanted. There was 2 Mons I was going to grab. Those Mons were the Tera Captain that I chose, and the round after, because it would have come back to me within like 5 or 6 picks, I was going to grab Cinderace. So I was going to go, my first Pokemon, wait, no. I have that wrong. It was not yet. It wasn't yet. Anyway. Basically, I really wanted to get a good Tera Captain here, and there was Pokemon I really wanted to use, so I went ahead and I went and grabbed Thundurus Therian form. So, for starters, Volt Absorb. Immunity to electric moves, never a bad thing. I'm sure Aqua Tank would really appreciate that, because otherwise Volt Switch would be free into my team, even though we do still have a ground type with Garchomp. But now we have an electric immunity to take a little bit of heat off of Aqua Tank to make sure it can't just get Volt Switched on, because Thundy can just come in and be like, hey, thanks for the healing, bud. But let's take a look at stats. 145 special attack is honestly insane. And this is actually one of my Tera Captains. So this thing can run any Tera type that it wants. It just has to be previewed to the opponent. We play our games that way anyway, so it works out. So I could run this thing with a nice and little Tera Flying if I wanted to. Maybe go like Tera Flying, Tera Blast. That's a possibility. I could go Tera Ice to hit ground types. I could go Tera Fairy if I wanted to, just to be like a very defensive typing. yeah, basically any option here is the world is our oyster. I could go Tera Water and make it so I'm only weak to Grass-type moves because of my Volt Absorb ability, which could be pretty good as well. Yeah, this Pokemon's really good with Tera. It's, in my opinion, it's one of, like, the top Tera captains. In my opinion, at least. Some people might disagree, and that's fine. But yeah, I could take advantage of Flying Stab and go Tera Flying Tera Blast. That could be pretty fire. Yeah, it's a really good mon. Gets access to multiple forms of momentum with U-Turn as well as Volt Switch. A Thunderbolt from this thing from 145 special attack hurts like a truck. Its physical attack isn't that bad either at 105, so I could realistically maybe run that with like a bulk up set. More than likely wouldn't, but it's an idea. It also does give me an access to Defog. I probably wouldn't use this thing as my go-to defogger for the most part, but it's nice to have it. Better to have it than to not. Gets Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, another knockoff user, which is nice. Access to Nasty Plot to boost its special attack stat even higher, which is very, very nice. Gets access to Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave, Super Swell, Slam if I really felt like running physical and missing. Taunt to taunt the opponent, and like I said, it gets access to U-Turn Volt Switch. It also gets its, what's it called move? Signature move in Wild Bolt Storm. 100 power, 80 accuracy, 20% chance to paralyze, can't miss in rain. Not the greatest move, because of that 80% accuracy, but overall, it's not bad. 20% chance to paralyze and stronger than Thunderbolt. Probably won't run it over T-Bolt just for the consistent damage, but it's an idea. Yeah, this thing's a demon. Its speed tier is also pretty good, also giving me something to outspeed base 100s at base 101, which is very, very nice, as long as I'm running Timid on that thing. I could also run Terrafly Acrobatics, that could be kind of fun. So yeah, it gets a good amount of coverage moves. Having access to Grass Knot's pretty nice. Being able to Tera is very nice. Tera Flying Thundy with Tera Blast sounds pretty fire to me. Yeah, I really wanted to use this thing for a while. This thing is a demon, so I decided to go ahead and scoop it up for my team. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and name you Storm Rider after the Land of Dragons Heartless in Cage 2. Anyway. So here's where I decided to get, where things got a little convoluted. There was a Pokemon I really wanted to grab, and that was Cinderace. So like I said, was the 4th pick, and this was on the comeback to me. So pick 16 through 5 it picked, and then it came back to me. I was talking to Poyito Shark, who's my mentor this season in the league, and he was saying how there was a certain person who had drafted a Mon that needed Unburden. And there was a Pokemon that had Unburden on my radar that I wanted to pick up as my second Tera Captain. So I was either going to pick that up or pick Cinderace. So I was kind of torn there. I kind of wish I would have picked Cinderace because I ended up picking my other Tera Captain, and Cinderace got chosen like 2 or 3 picks later. And I was like so upset because I really wanted Cinderace. Would have given me a very good speed tier, would have given me court change. I really regret the pick that I made because I probably could have just grabbed my other Tera Captain on the way back anyway. But I really wanted this thing, and I was worried about somebody stealing it because there were a couple of people who were picked in front of me that did have terrain who could want an Unburdened Sweeper. And it's a pretty good value one and also a pretty good Tera Captain as well. So it was a bit of a panic pick. I probably should have gone the opposite order and picked the Cinderace first for the speed tier and the court change, but you live and learn. Anyway, I went ahead and decided to grab my other Tera Captain in round 6. I chose Drifblim. So, a couple of things with Drifblim. For starters, gets access to Unburden, so my speed is doubled when I lose my held item. So I could have that good synergy with Tapu Lele, excuse me, and run Psychic Seed to boost my Spadef, while also doubling my speed immediately. For the most part, I probably won't be running Aftermath this season, but it is a possibility, so it's something we could keep in mind. I doubt I'm going to run it. There's also Flare Boost. Its special attacks gain 1.5 power if we're burned. The only issue with burn is that it's going to make me take damage over time. And even if I were to go like Tera Fire on this thing, as an example, if I was already burned, even if I changed to be a fire typing, I'm still going to take the burn damage. So that's unfortunate. It's something maybe we could revisit because it does get access to boosting moves like Calm Mind. So it's something to keep in mind, but for the most part, this thing could probably end up being Unburdened for us. It also gets access to Defog to give me another way to remove hazards. More than likely wouldn't run that, but still gets Baton Pass to pass to the rest of the team. Like I said, it gets Calm Mind, gets Clear Smog to remove opposing stats. Destiny Bond is nice. Explosion is nice just to hit a nuke button. Haze to eliminate stat changes as well. Gets another knockoff, which is pretty good. Memento for momentum could also be good. Pain Split for healing. Does get access to stored power. The main thing I really like, though, is this thing gets Strength Sap. So this heals me based on the target's attack stat and lowers their attack stat by 1. So I could run something like Calm Mind, Strength Sap, Will-O-Wisp Hex as a set to boost my special attack and also and my Spadef as well, and make the opponent lose some of their physical attacks. So this thing could kind of go in a little bit, pass off a little Willow to burn the target, and then Hex them to double the power to base 130. So this could be a very fun set to run this season, something to keep in mind. As for the rest of the move it does get Shadow Ball, it does get stored power, which is pretty nice, so I could run Tera Psychic on this thing to boost that stored power even further if I wanted to. It is something we could do if we wanted. It also does get Tailwind, Terra Blast as well. T-Wave Toxic gets access to Trick. So it gets access to 3 forms of status in T-Wave, Will-O-Wisp, and Toxic, which is pretty good. It's electric moves via TMs as well. I could run Tailwind on it. It's got a lot of support possibilities, but also could be a threatening sweeper thanks to that Terastallization, as well as the boosting moves that we have on it. It's a little bit wanting in stats, but base 150 HP, again, is very nice. And even though its defenses are pretty low, the base HP kind of helps that. Plus, I could go for something like a Tera Fairy to give me a very good typing, so I'd only be weak to Poison and Steel at that point, which aren't the most common offensive types. Its attack stat's not great at 80, 90's not great at 90, special attack either. But again, I get access to Calm Mind, so I can boost that. Same with my Spadef. And base 80 speed's not bad, but with Unburden, let's say we go max speed Timid. That's 284. That would bump us up to, 400 plus 168, so 568. So that's really solid. Like, we have to make the opponent think we could realistically do this. And now because of that, they have to prep for it. Which is one of the main things with Draft League is the way you build your team is to counter your opponent, but you also have to account for your opponent bringing certain things, think of all the possibilities, and make sure you're building the best team accordingly based on that. So in this case, Drifblim could be a very annoying Pokemon for the opponent to build against because they don't know how much speed I'm going to be bringing, they don't know if I'm going on Burden, excuse me, they don't know if I'm going with like a more defensive build with like Strength Sap and Will-O-Wisp. So it's something that the opponent has to keep in mind. It's like when I had Grassy Terrain in the NBA last season. I only brought it to like 2 games, but the threat was always there, so my opponent had to make sure they were running high horsepower over Earthquake because it would get weakened. Same thing here. Opponents might not want to use too many priority moves, such as like Sucker Punch, which Drifblim is weak to, because Tapu Lele also has the Psychic Terrain. So a lot of different practicalities here, a lot of different ways to make this work. I'm excited to use this thing. I think it's going to be kind of fun to use as the Terra Captain. And we're going to go ahead and name you Violet Waltz. Alright, so 6 mons down, 4 to go. We went ahead and next up, I decided I really wanted to get a defogger, like a reliable defogger. Because I might have 2 of them so far in the Thundurus and the Drifblim, but I don't know if I like having defog on both my Terra Captains, and I don't know if I want to be running defog on those 2 mons specifically. So I decided I want to get a mon that could reliably defog in this case. And here's where I had to pivot after the Cinderace I got sniped. Because I wanted it for court change. I thought about grabbing a Spinner instead, but I feel like this gives me a little bit more utility as well. So I went ahead and we're bringing back an old favorite. If we didn't get this, if we didn't get Sneasler, I at least wanted 1 mon back from our NBA championship season. And I decided to go ahead and grab myself a defogger and a fire type in Moltres. This thing was an absolute monster during my NBA championship run. I didn't bring it to every game, but every game I brought it to, it made an impact. And that's what I love about Moltres. It gets access to pressure to make the opponent lose an additional PP every time they attack us. It also gets Flame Body, making it so every Pokemon that hits us with a physical move has a chance to be burned. Which again, another reason to make the opponents try and run protective pads, because Rough Skin Rocky Helmet Garchomp, Rocky Helmet Alomomola, Flame Body Moltres. Physical attackers beware, bring your pads or you might get burned. This thing is probably going to be running a lot of heavy duty boots this season, which seems to be the theme for my team. But yeah, making it so it doesn't take the hazards that it wants to defog away from damage, like the Stealth Rocks and stuff, are very, very nice. Like I said, this thing gets access to defog. as well as U-turn to keep up momentum. But it's also no slouch on the offensive side. Like 125 special attack is not that bad. 90 HP, 90 defense, 85 SPDEF are pretty good bulk levels. And then we've also got 90 in speed, which is a pretty decent speed tier for a relatively bulky mon. So that's pretty helpful. But we're no slouch. We can hit pretty hard with Flamethrower. We also get Hurricane. There's a lot of good moves this thing gets. It gets access to Braver if I want to run this thing physical, because base 90 attack is not terrible either. More than likely going to run special, though. But it does get access to Defog, Dual Wing Beat, gets Flamethrower and Fire Blast, of course, Morning Sun for healing, as well as Roost for healing, which is very nice. Roar could be a phaser. Scorching Sands to hit the rock types and maybe give them a burn could be helpful. Another mon that gets access to Tailwind, gets Toxic as well. Whirlwind for phasing as well is very nice. Another Willow user. So a lot of good moves to spread the opponent around with some status, hit off some big damage, and keep hazards off our side of the field is what I want to be seeing. Yeah, I'm really excited to use this thing. It put in work during the previous season of the NBA, so I'm sure it will again. I really like Moltres. It's probably my favorite legendary bird. I think it's probably grown to be. It definitely was Zapdos, but I think this has grown to my favorite because of how much I've used it. I just really like this mon. I think it's really good, and I'm excited to have it back again as we try to defend our crown in the NBA. We're going to go ahead and name you Red Hot Chili after the Unversed in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Alright, 3 to go. Next up, there was a mon that I was talking to Poyito Shark about, and it's one I've really wanted to use for a while. I've never been able to use this mon in competitive any kind, because it always gets drafted before I have a chance to. And by that I mean all 4 of its forms usually get drafted before I usually think about taking it myself. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I really wanted Meowscarada here. I really, really did. But I could not make it work with the amount of points that I had, because there was a couple of weaknesses I wanted to address. I needed a grounded poison type, I wanted another fairy to take the pressure off of Lele, and I really needed something for extra hazards as well. So I decided to not go Meowscarada because it was a bit too expensive to make it work with the rest of my draft plan, but I really thought about it, because it would have also given me a really good speed tier. I ended up going with one of these 4 Pokemon, though, because it also gives me a pretty good speed tier, gets me access to hazards, and it's just kind of really good. So I went ahead and grabbed one of the Ogerpons, specifically Ogerpon-Cornerstone. So, a couple of things about this Pokemon. It cannot hold an item because it has to hold the Cornerstone Mask, which is fine, but it does gain access to the Sturdy ability. So that means that the Pokemon will survive at least 1 HP. It will never be fully O-code as long as it has full HP each time. A couple of things with this mon, it does get access to Spikes, which is very, very good for us. Gives us another form of hazard setting to take the heat off of Garchomp and Aggron a little bit. Gets access to Encore to encore the opponent into different moves. Doesn't have bad bulk, like 80 HP, 84 defense isn't bad. It's sitting with 80 HP and 96 SPDEF. It's not bad, so you could run this thing like bulky, speedy to kind of be like a support mon with like Spikes, Encore, gets access to U-turn for momentum. I think it gets Taunt? Yes. So this could be something that we run as like a lead Ogerpon to guarantee our hazards up. That could be pretty helpful for us. Alternatively, we could also go offensive. So I could run like Wood Hammer, U-turn, Ivy Cudgel, which is a 100 power, 100 accuracy rock type move with a high crit rate. Which is basically Stone Edge, but without the 80% accuracy. That's ridiculous. This move is phenomenal on this thing. I honestly love it. So I think just being able to span rock type attacks into the opponent could be good. Gets Horn Leech to heal itself. Also gets access to Knockoff to remove the foe's items. Could be a bulky Leech Seed mon. Power Whip instead of Wood Hammer so I don't take damage could be nice. But I also would have to risk the 15% accuracy. Seed Bomb for more consistent damage. Spiky Shield to protect itself a little bit. Access to Swords Dance to boost its physical attack even further. Synthesis to heal itself. Trailblaze to boost its speed. It's got a lot of stuff going on for it. The main thing I like about it, though, is it gives me a base 110 mon, so it's now my fastest team member. And I believe it maxes out at 338, I want to say? Oh, no, 350. I don't know how to do math. 350. So, again, not the best speed tier. 110's not amazing, but it's good. Plus with 120 attack, that's pretty nice. I don't know why I clicked timid. I'll do jolly so that we can actually see what its attack stat would look like. 339 is not bad, especially with Sword Stance to boost that and double it to 678. So it's pretty good. Like I said, good HP tier as well, or good HP stat, decent defenses. Gets access to a lot of good moves. Can be a physically offensive mon. And boost itself can be a good Scarfer or Choice Band user. Could be a little bit bulky. Could be an annoying lead to set up hazards and taunt the opponent. It's got some good stuff going for it. I really like this thing. I've wanted to use it for a hot minute. We're going to go ahead and name you Leech Grave. After the... Nope, not Leech Grace. Leech Grave. After the Heartless and Kingdom Hearts 358. 2 quick mons to go. So, like I was saying, I wanted myself another fairy type. I thought we really could use one to take a little bit of the heat off of Lele. And I really also needed a grounded poison type. So I wanted something to absorb toxic spikes. Ideally, I could get something that also got toxic spikes. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that because I believe Weezing was taken. So I went for the next best thing in this case, which was one of the loyal 3. So Ogerpon's not going to be happy about this. Fezandipiti. So, a couple of things with this mon. 2 pretty good abilities. Toxic Chain makes it so any move that this Pokemon hits on the opponent has a 30% chance of toxic poisoning, which is really nice to spread that around. And also Technician to boost moves of 60 power to 1.5 times. Could be pretty good if I wanted to run this thing offensive. Its offensive stats are a little bit meh for the most part. Like 91 attack and 70 special attack are not great. Like 91 attack's not horrible, but it's nothing amazing. But what this thing is very good at is being a pretty speedy with base 99 speed, especially defensive tank. So with max HP and max Spadef, because we were kind of lacking in the Spadef department a little bit, we can now have a good special wall here to kind of eat up hits on the special side, take that fairy typing and kind of take some of that heat off of Lele, get rid of opposing toxic spikes, which is handy. Yeah, it's a good mon. It's again like another mon I want to try out. I like my poison types. I like my fairy types. I don't think Ogerpon's happy about this, but it's fine. As for moves it gets, it's another U-turn mon to keep up momentum for the rest of the team. Gets access to Alluring Voice, even though its special attack is terrible. Could be a Calm Mind booster to get its special stats up if I really wanted to. Access to Gunk Shot is really nice for the 30% chance to poison. Gets access to Heat Wave to hit steals as well, because Poison Fairy doesn't do much to steel typings. Nasty Plot could be interesting to boost that special attack stat too. I believe it's a dual screen user. As it get light screen, it does not get reflect, so it's only a light screen user. That's annoying. Anyway, Moonblast is there. Poison Jab, Play Rough, probably going to be the main 2 moves we're running in this turn. Roost for healing is nice. So this could realistically be the set we run every single week. U-turn, Roost, Poison Jab, Play Rough with like a little black sludge or something. Could be a good way to go about it. It does also get access to Shadow Claw and Sludge Bomb. It does get Sword Dance, so if I wanted to run this thing physically offensive one week, I could. Gets Tailwind to boost speed and Taunt to taunt the foe as well. So it's got some good support moves. It could, in theory, be run as offensive, but for the most part, it's going to be a mainly defensive mon. It could also go for like a beat-up strat, because beat-up Toxic Chain, I believe, has a solid like 60% chance to proc on the opponent, as long as you have all 6 mons alive. So being able to get off a guaranteed toxic poison on something while also doing damage to it could be interesting. Probably won't run that very often, but it's something we could keep in mind. 82 defense isn't great, but that 8 HP and that 125 Spadef are very, very nice for this thing. To be a nice little specially defensive mon, and that's kind of what it's going to mingle is going to be to do, because like I said, my team is lacking just a little bit in the Spadef department. And we are going to go ahead and name you Parasol Beauty. Alright, so finally we had exactly 1 point left on our team, and there were not many top tier 1-pointers, as I'm sure you can imagine. These are like the lowest of the low. Like, I'm pretty sure Pokemon like Charmeleon are in this tier, or like what's Dragapult's pre-evolution? So it's Dreepy, Dracloak. I think Dracloak's a 1-pointer. I think Carbink is in this tier, which Carbink's actually not that bad. But I saw one mon that was like, okay, maybe I could see something here. Maybe I could see this thing doing something with 1 point. And that mon was actually Hisuian Sliggoo. So for a couple things, this gives me another steel type. Nope. This gives me another Steel type to take a little heat from Aggron. Gives me another Dragon type as well. A couple of pretty good abilities in the Sap Sipper to give me a Grass immunity for my team. Shell Armor so we can't be crit is pretty nice. Gooey, if a Pokemon makes contact with us, their speed will be lowered by 1 stage. That could be nice to lower like a setup sweeper's speed and make them easier to revenge. So it's got a couple of pretty good abilities. It also can hold the Eviolite to increase its physical defense and special defense by 1.5. Does this thing take that into account or no? I want to see. So we're at 202. If I hold Eviolite, what happens? Nothing. Okay, so I have to do the math myself. I was just curious. But yeah, this thing's not that bad. It's got decent stats, like 58 HP, pretty bad. But 83 defense, 113 SPDF. That's pretty damn good. Like if I run this thing at, we'll say, Calm Nature. So 357 times a 1.5. Let's see what this thing's SPDF would be. Just real quick, let me pull out my phone. So we have 357 times 1.5. 535 SPDF is not bad with that Eviolite. And then we're also boosting our defense pretty good too, all the way up to like, if we just ran like max HP here, max HP, max SPDF, we boost our defense up to 303 as well. So that's, again, not terrible. Not terrible, and like that SPDF is so good. That SPDF is actually kind of insane. The 40 speed's kind of terrible. It's a bit of a passive mon because 83 special attack is not good at all. But there's some stuff it could do, like I believe it does get access to Iron Defense. No, it doesn't. Let's see what it does get access to. Okay, it gets Acid Armor, so close enough. Close enough, close enough, close enough. Body Slam to spread a little para. Chilling Water could lower the opposing foe's attack. Maybe I could run this thing with as a Curse Sweeper to throw the opponent off guard. I doubt I would, but it's something I could do. Its special attack isn't awful, so 83. So I could run like Dragon Pulse and Flash Cannon here. Gyro Ball, it's insanely slow, so that's something that could be a possibility. It gets access to Ice Beam, Ice Banner to remove terrain, Iron Head for physical moves as well. Gets Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave, I guess. Steel Beam actually could be decent because maybe I want this thing to get KO'd, so I can bring in something for free. That could be pretty helpful. And it gets Toxic, so I could spread a little bit of poison around. So I could realistically go like Acid Armor, Toxic, Chilling Water, and rest? I don't know, man. This could be an annoying set to fight if the opponent only has physical attackers. Well, then again, like our special attack's insanely high. So if we got an Acid Armor up, we could be a little bit of an annoying guy. So that could be kind of fun. I probably won't bring this thing too much this season. Maybe I'll bring it as a meme one week. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of funny. This mon's pretty passive, and it's known for its defenses, so I'm going to call you Defender. So that is our team for the NBA this season. Once again, we got Garchomp, Tapu, Lele, Aggron, Alomomola, Thundurus, Therian, Drifblim, Moltres, Ogerpon-Cornerstone, Fezandipiti, and Sliggoo-Hisui. Let me know what you guys think of the team down in the comments below. Let me know who your favorite team member is. Let me know what your favorite nickname is down there as well. Yeah, you should guys let me know what you think of the team. I'm excited to try and defend my crown here in the NBA. Hopefully we can have a good season. Hopefully you'll be cheering your Arcanine Pokemon Club on this season during Season 5 of the NBA in the Swarm Division. I'd really appreciate that. And also, if you really like this Draft League content, I already said this, but still, leave a like on the video. It helps me out a ton, helps me know you like to see it. And definitely subscribe if you're new around here because it lets me know you want to see more of this stuff because I'm having a lot of fun with the Draft League stuff, and I hope you guys are too. But that is going to be it for the team. I will see you guys for our first battle in 2 weeks while we kind of get prepared. So I'll catch y'all then. But until then, I'm going to leave you all with this. I hope you'll be cheering on your Arcanine Pokemon Club. Take care, and peace.